Here's a graph of one of my clients, and this is where he changed the thumbnail of the video. The video went from a couple of thousand views to over 3 million. I've been working on YouTube for over 13 years now, and thumbnails are by far the most important thing about your video. We will find out the secret on how to create a viral thumbnail. Chapter 1: The composition of a thumbnail. Before even starting any thumbnail, you need to make sure that the composition in your mind is laid out. By this, I mean you need to sketch it, draw it, anything you can. The biggest creators on the planet storyboard their thumbnails before even starting the thumbnail. Here are some popular examples that you can see where people just sketched out the thumbnail and the final result looks like this. It should not be perfect, just getting an idea of what you're creating so that you can do it yourself or even contact a professional thumbnail artist. Our brain is capable of thinking various images that it can process, and you should always make a composition and then take a pen and paper and draw something. Anything would do here. Even the biggest animated movies are drawn first on paper and then finalized later. This is the first step of making a viral thumbnail for your videos. Here are 12 types of click-inducing methods that work on YouTube right now according to my experience, and you can use them too. The first one is the movement trigger, a thumbnail that moves inside the head of the viewer. This causes the viewer to question the thumbnail. For example, look at this. The text says it's tilting. Now instantly people are like, what is tilting? And then you are supplied with the answer in the title of your question. Always remember that the thumbnail's job is to make someone read the title, and the title's job is to get someone over the line. The oxymoron. Two opposite things put together. This is obvious. Look at this. For example, this video has over 3 million views and the thumbnail creates an idea of contrasts. A biscuit and a hammer. Two things that do not go together. The title says, food that time forgot, the ship's biscuit. Now instantly you're hit with the question, why did time forget this biscuit? And can it survive a hammer? What is a ship's biscuit? The questions flow in the head of the viewer with the thumbnail, and then the title confuses you even more. The timeline. By far the most popular thumbnails on YouTube generally used to show progression throughout the video. As a human, we love quantifiability. We love the index on the book, and this is the same. The feeling of the viewer knowing the starting point and the end point of the video gives them confidence to click on the video, seeing the transformation in their own way. The 4 easy way to transform your design. 300k views. The life-changing transformation at the age of 49. 4 million views while their average is 55k on the channel. LA is transforming a river. Here is why. 817k views while they just get 8,000 views on your channel. Makeup transformations, body transformations, these are all over the internet. The get-rich business schemes, they are everywhere, and you know a point of starting and a point of end. That's why these thumbnails are effective. The color popper. Thumbnails that act as a stop for the eye of the viewer. These thumbnails can only be seen from a distance. Do you see that? The reason why Japan is so rich, has over 1 million views while their average on their channel is about 55k. In this example, the padlock here catches the eye primarily because of a single color in the background, and the color popper thumbnails are generally thumbnails that bleed the screen from one source. They are the most clear thumbnails amongst thumbnails. These thumbnails are specific to your niche. So let's say if in your niche people are making thumbnails with a green background, your job is to switch them, let's say, with a white background. Then you will pop. Keep in mind, when you do this, people will start copying you when you get views, and you will have to keep adapting to keep popping on the screen. The message thumbnails. Keep in mind, these thumbnails are meant to be speaking something that your life needs. So people looking for anything in the self-improvement niche in any sector of their life, they will get attracted to this if this line right here is solving their problem. Keep in mind, they should think it's gonna solve their life, and that is the reason why you get the click. These videos are the solution to someone, and they want to hear the creator, which if they can recognize, that's even better. But if the quote resonates with them, they will watch this video to know how this can help them if they are in the same situation as the creator. The YouTube face thumbnails. These thumbnails are mostly the same, and you should only use this after you have a certain amount of following. So if you are a creator who gets 3 million views a month, this is recommended. But if you are a channel who is just starting up and nobody knows your face yet, This is not recommended until you have a following. Matthew is a very good example here. He had many thumbnails like this when he used to get 1 million views a video. You can see his face is very small. Notice how he gradually adds a bigger and bigger face as he started growing. And now it's pretty much him, covering the whole face of the YouTube video's thumbnail. These thumbnails act as logos for brands. So for example, if you look at a Nike logo, you know it's comfortable to wear, or if you look at an Under Armour logo, you know it's a fitness brand. You can even use someone else's face here like he did if you're not big enough yourself. But keep in mind, if you're using somebody's face, the video should either be about them or should include the famous YouTuber in the video. The seductive thumbnails. These are the thumbnails that work and will do forever. People on the planet are here to reproduce, and these thumbnails attract their eyes by the laws of nature. And it works for both genders, by the way. So go with this strategy at your own risk. You might make a lot of money, but might never make a brand that will last with this strategy. The DIY trick. Show something in your thumbnails that is weird or impossible and you'll get some serious attention. Keep in mind that you will get a lot of views from these videos, but I have rarely seen people hold this as their branding forever. They are too easy to copy and nobody can remember you, and you will be catering to kids here if your thumbnails are too bright. But if you have an audience that's 15 and older, I would keep the color simple as shown in the examples right here. The repetition thumbnails. These are used to drag the eye of the viewer because of synchronized chaos. Humans love patterns and we love when things repeat. This is Mr. Beast here, and the video has gained so many views when switching between different repetition styles. Cause so much chaos that it looks like a symphony. The life is stuck thumbnail. This thumbnail is a direct correlation to the average audience browsing through social media all day. When we are stuck in life, we switch over to social media to think, to use our brains. We can't seem to do the task that we want. This thumbnail is a direct correlation to that. It's like looking in the mirror. As humans, we have evolved from monkeys, and monkeys mirror the emotion you do to them. So whenever you see someone in your place, you click to know more because you are using social media to run away from something that you are stuck in. So you'll have to click on this to find the solution. The 3D thumbnails. They are images where you can see a 3D background extending to infinity. These thumbnails make you feel like it's a realistic shot from the video itself. But sometimes you can even use Photoshop elements. This thumbnail style you will see all over YouTube, and the reason why it's so effective, it's because it shows an image and also shows a 3D background that you would love to explore. You will see this thumbnail almost everywhere, in the top creators to the bottom ones. A very effective style to go ahead with, and also can be made directly from one of the screenshots in your video. If it looks cool, you can use it for this style. The alloy thumbnails. These are basically mix of all the strategies I explained above. Like this, for example, it's a color popper plus it's a YouTube face. Here's another example, a color popper with a face. And here's my favorite one, the repetition with a timeline, or a 3D with a color popper. Now we will switch over to an example of an exercise that I want you to write down somewhere. Let's say your thumbnail is already ready. You need to ask yourself this question: is this an interesting concept? If the answer is yes, then you need to ask another question: has the viewer in my niche ever seen this before? If the answer is yes to that question, then chances are that your video will get lost in the crowd. To stand out of the crowd, you have to come up with something new. We often make fun of the fashion models walking out with their outfits, but YouTube is a bit like that. Innovate so much that everybody just looks at the thumbnail and goes, what the hell is that? I need to check this out right now. But do not overthink your thumbnails. Once you have a concept, go ahead with it, upload it, and improve bit by bit, upload by upload, how to get them to click. And also, coming up with new concept, you need to understand your viewer. You need to understand what your viewer wants to click on, and then cater and come up with those ideas. Like while people are browsing through other thumbnails, they need to stop at your thumbnail, get interested, and then take action. Always ask this to yourself, this is going to be shown to a human, and will they be interested in viewing this and then clicking on this? And it clearly shows that you guys have just one video bang and you could never replicate that again. So much of your success on YouTube lies on how you break down why the thumbnail worked in the first place and then replicate it. How many of you can reverse engineer the success of your videos? Like, do you guys know why do your thumbnails work? Not only you can use the concepts I showed you earlier, you can also select colors that help the viewer digest the thumbnail better. Yes, digest. The colors used here are complementary colors on the color wheel. This means when you pick green, the opposite end of the color will pop the most for the eye of the viewer. Green and purple are really good examples for human evolutionary biology. Since humans used to use the color to find fruits back in the day, so basically this thumbnail pops to our eyes like we are about to eat it. Don't stop here. You have triadic colors where you will notice YouTubers mostly using 3 colors to make it pop. Sometimes you even find thumbnails that follow a certain pattern. In the top half you'll see a pattern, in the bottom you'll see another. The colors of your thumbnail are certainly important, but you do not control everything. You need to make the background contrasty enough so that your subject stands out in most cases, and we can also see people darkening the background to make things pop. Now coming over to analyzing the statistics in your dashboard. The CTR is what you're looking at, whether to find it's a good thumbnail or not. The CTR will always tell you that. Now let's say if the CTR you got was 8.5%. This means that 8.5 people clicked on it when the video was shown to 100 people. That's why 8.5%. Now the problem is, the next time YouTube shows it to only 50 people, then the CTR jumps from 8.5 to 16. That does not mean the thumbnail got better, but I'll explain what it means. That just means that YouTube won't push your video anymore because it's probably already available in similar or better qualities by other YouTubers on the platform. So remember, the CTR of your video is inversely proportional to the impressions. So the more your video gets recommended, the lower of a CTR you will have. So the wider of an audience it goes to, the lower of a CTR you will get in your statistics. But this is not the whole story. When you just upload the video, your CTR will be very high because your core audience, your subscribers, will view your video first. This is why you see a CTR drop just after your video uploads. Because as YouTube tries to push your videos outside the people who watch the topic of your interest, thus the CTR slightly goes down. Now when YouTube stops pushing your video, that means the video is probably shit now, or somebody else just uploaded a better video than that. Then your impressions start to flatten out and your CTR goes up because they're inversely proportional, as I just told you. So basically, for getting everything to work here together, you need to have a good video in the first place. Better, different, or something unique compared to the competition that is available right now. So don't go changing your thumbnails if you do not know what you're doing. You might have seen YouTubers change their thumbnails a lot, but then they have also uploaded 500 videos in the last 5 years or something. That gives them the knowledge to do something like this. So please don't go changing your thumbnails if you don't know what you're doing. I mean, this is all I can tell you regarding CTR. The brand development of your thumbnail, a very subjective topic. A brand of a thumbnail just basically means one single thing that's common amongst all your thumbnails. Again, I'll say one single thing that's common again in all your thumbnails. It could be an arrow, it could be a text, it could be a face, it could be an outline, anything that is common amongst all your thumbnails. Even the way you angle your camera, if it's the same amongst most of your thumbnails, then you are slowly building a brand. And YouTubers who put efforts increasingly making similar thumbnails, but I repeat, similar but different thumbnails every time, they have a higher CTR eventually. Since let's say if one of their videos blows up, it blows up the whole channel because every video looks the same but different. The brand can also be understood by just remembering the last time you saw your favorite YouTuber. You can try them again and again, and the easier it is to find them, the higher CTR they will have, because the more better the video they make, the whole cycle continues. Make a good video, make a similar thumbnail every time. People can find that similar style of thumbnail which is different to other people but same to that guy, but still a good thumbnail that everybody can watch, then easily people can find that thumbnail and the cycle continues. Another big topic that needs to be covered is text or no text. This is a huge problem on YouTube, and it doesn't matter the font, it just needs to be a readable font. Here are some fonts on the screen right now that you can download for your thumbnails. If the text on the video is straight up the same as the title of the video, it works, but what's the point of having two titles at the same place? Rather, make the video in a way that the text in the thumbnail makes the question of the title even more complex for the viewer. By complex, I mean, let's say if you look at this thumbnail, it says, "What the fuck is this?" emotion in your head. Now if you put day 3 on it, the "what the fuck is this" emotion is now even bigger. This is the use of the text on your thumbnail. Also make sure if you have a logo on your thumbnail or anything that represents an object, if the video is based on something that makes sure that the object is way larger than the text or the graphics supporting the object. Same goes for the faces on the thumbnails. If the video is about something other than the face, then the face will take lesser region on the thumbnail. And if the main object is supporting the title, that will be bigger to help to add to the title. So the face of the thumbnail not only helps in branding part of the thumbnail, as I explained earlier, but they also work as text on thumbnails, just like adding to the question to the viewer. I mean, the faces are not text, but the psychology is similar. If they are shouting at something and the title is something that is complementing that emotion, it will work as the day 3 logic I just explained earlier. The next trick I'm going to teach you is something that will blow up on YouTube right now, and I believe it's gonna stay here for the next 5 years or so. So you can abuse it all you want, but you have to think your idea of your video beforehand. And the trick is a moment before something happens. This is a trick that you are seeing all over YouTube right now. This is the same as the momentum strategy I explained earlier, but this one is on steroids. This is a direct question of what is going to happen after this moment. The first moment of the video is literally the question posed on the thumbnail. So if you want to use this strategy to get millions of views, you need to think your moment before something happened, record it, and then construct a video around it to use this strategy. The bigger creators on the platforms I work with are using this strategy with separate teams just working for the few seconds of the video, the moment before something happened, and other people in their staff are working on the rest of the video. Now there is a problem with this strategy though. If the thumbnail in this looks like anyway Photoshop, then it's impossible for the viewer to click on this. The thumbnail needs to be so realistic, literally looking like a snapshot from the video. If the viewer can detect that this thumbnail is photoshopped or something is created inside it, this strategy would not work. Now that's a lot of information to understand in a single stretch and execute. This is where your own research will come in. Know your niche. Research what you can find works in your niche and how can you make it better. Always remind yourself that there is no failure in this world, only feedback. The more you upload and the more feedback you can implement, the better you will get at making thumbnails. Now, once you have researched about your design, I would recommend that analyze the concept rather than the design itself. The concept of the thumbnail is way more important than the color theory and the patterns I showed you earlier. The best thumbnails on the platforms are always made under 5 seconds, literally. So much so goes into the psychology of the click rather than the actual design itself. There is another technique that will make you millions of views on YouTube, and that is lazy thumbnails. Yes, you heard it right. Lazy thumbnails. These thumbnails can be made in just 5 seconds, and these thumbnails can get over 7 million views if you just literally put a face of Shrek from a small part of the movie, or you could just put a chair on a white screen. These get millions of views. And these thumbnails can also be people talking straight into the camera. The best way to understand the strategy about lazy thumbnails is that lazy thumbnails pop as well. When the world is trying to do color theories and people are trying to put effort into their thumbnails and energy to create the brightest thumbnails possible, the lazy ones pop. It's like the balance of nature. When everybody starts wearing black outfits, then the white ones will pop. And when everybody buys an iPhone, then the new nothing phone will be the new trend. It's like the balance of nature, as I said. The thumbnails where you're talking about the whole history of the topic took a lot of attention seemingly because they were lazy thumbnails. The idea of the video worked because they were offering the whole story of the Premier League, I guess. They were offering the whole history of the F1, I guess. So the viewer here saw it on their screen clearly, clicked on it, and then they have the whole story to consume easily when clicking on these videos. Of course, there is a problem with this strategy. Before you attempt the lazy thumbnail, your idea needs to be so good that the lazy thumbnail can support it. So your idea of the thumbnail and of the video requires more effort here rather than the thumbnail itself. Another big chapter, search thumbnails versus browse thumbnails. These are two types of videos on YouTube, search videos and browse videos. Search videos are generally videos like how to plant a mango tree, or how to install power apps in your Trello, or how to apply a lip filler, or how to snipe from an M98B, or how to hit the knuckleball free kick. You get the point. The browse videos of the same topic would be surviving in the forest with the same mango tree for 24 hours. The one tip that makes your Trello so powerful. Lip filler injection gone wrong. What 8,000 hours of sniping looks like. And the free kick challenge. Therefore, the thumbnails in the search page are competing with 10 videos in the search page, while the thumbnails in the browse page are competing with hundreds of videos. This is why search videos are good to start your channel, because the thumbnails of those videos are easy to make, while the thumbnails for the browse videos are way harder to make because the video itself for the browse video requires a lot of effort. Now the question is how to make the thumbnail for search. The answer: make the thumbnail as new as possible. People search to want to keep themselves updated to new trends. So search thumbnail require precision. They are like an article in the newspaper. Professional but precise. Fonts that are clear to read and help people to get their search as quickly as possible. This is why thumbnails for the videos in the browse area are something that need to be flashing, while in the search area they can be more professional. The thumbnails in the browse features can be color poppers because they are competing against hundreds of thumbnails, while the lazy thumbnail tricks also works here, and the moment before something happened trick also works here because they all will pop on the home page where they are competing against other 1,000 browse thumbnails. So browse thumbnails can help your videos go viral if your video is hitting for the browse features. Search videos can also go viral, but they cannot go as viral as the browse ones because people have to search for the topic, while the browse videos pop themselves on their homepage by YouTube. Now before we proceed further, feel free to join my Discord in the description below, and we are going to host a free call every week where I teach you one detail and trick about YouTube that you won't be able to find anywhere out there. The Discord server is a massive community where other YouTubers are ready to grow themselves and everybody helps each other, and you can even get your personalized sessions with me on Discord. Check out the link in the description below. Now let's discuss the things you don't have to do when making thumbnails. Number 1, don't put text on your thumbnail, at least when you're a beginner. Like literally people put text on their thumbnails because they think it's gonna add value. Looks like it doesn't. The thumbnail right here is an optimum example. What does the text provide to the viewer here? No value whatsoever. See, your text in thumbnails should be used smartly. Here are some examples on the screen. Look at Mark Manson's videos here. They are so good when it comes to using text on the thumbnails. They always add value to the titles. So the rule number 1 is, for the beginner, don't use text in your thumbnail. And when you understand how it works, you can go ahead with it. Number 2, don't judge your thumbnails on a large screen. Thumbnails should be viewed on a very small screen, or at least when you design them, scroll out on them, watch them if you can, and if you still see them, what's inside them when they are small. Good thumbnails are visible even if you make them extremely small. You can see each and every part of your thumbnail. There is a website called thumbsup.tv that you can use to view your thumbnails for every device. It's free of course, so you can see how your thumbnails look when they go on YouTube. This is why I'm asking, Don't put your text on your thumbnail if you're a beginner while you have more space for other things for it. So number 2 is always view your thumbnails while you shrink them down so that you can see they are visible to each and every size when they're showed on the platform. Don't number 3, never put more than 3 things on your thumbnail. As explained earlier, in all concepts I showed you, you should never put more than 3 main elements. It's too much for our brains to process. Even in the repetition thumbnails, the repeated objects act as one object. 1 to 3 objects keep our thumbnails interesting and engaging for something which we can easily process when we open up the website. If you put more than 3 objects here, the thumbnail starts to clutter and it's too cluttered to consume. And if your video is about a cluttered life, like I explained earlier, the life is stuck thumbnail, then this rule can be reversed, where the whole concept is about showing a mess. As you can see in the example on the left, where you have too many elements of the same idea while the same thumbnail can be seen on the right, which is way easier to consume. Now see, what I told you before, if you scale it down to a very small size, it is so horrible to see that you can't even see this shit. While if you do it on one of the less elements thumbnail, it is super easy to look at and it's so easy to consume at a very small size. Don't number 4. Don't put anything pointless on your thumbnail that won't help the thumbnail. Put something on your thumbnail that helps people to get the click. Everything on your thumbnail needs to have a purpose. Every little thing on your thumbnail needs to be there for a reason. And if something in your thumbnail does not contribute to get the click, remove it. Less is more here. The best thumbnails are understood by the audience in a split second, and you need to chase simplicity rather than adding too much things so that you can force the click out of your viewer. Don't do that. Don't number 5. Don't complicate your backgrounds. Simple backgrounds, best backgrounds. Look at this, for example. The more complication in the background, the harder it is for you to understand the thumbnail.
The topic of thumbnails does not end here. There are many other aspects that YouTube wants you to nail, and to know more secrets about those, click on this video right here.